Welcome all my joyful creators to Funday Monday, part 17 of the Longmire Blanket. I am so excited about this segment. We will be introducing a new stitch, but before we get there, as you saw in the intro, we had our two winners. Miss Jen Reeves won the first segment, or the first episode of our movie night, and so she picked colorway number 4, and on my chart number 4 is carrot. Then the second episode winner was Roseann Alexander, and she chose colorway number 11, and for me that is the color white. And then Roseann had more points earned in her episode win, so she chose the last and final color that we will be bringing in today, and that color is number 8, bright yellow. So today we will be doing orange, white, and yellow. Now the stitch that we're going to be introducing today is known as the textured cluster stitch. So I'm very, very excited to introduce this. It is a beautiful textured stitch, so its name does it very well. It is a cluster stitch that is made up with a combination of single crochets and double crochets. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. Today we will actually be introducing rows 94 through 100, so we will be doing a total of 7 rows today. Now, to get started, you need to make sure that your row 94, that you're on the same page. You should be working on the back side or the wrong side of your work. It is very, very imperative that we are on the same side as one another. So you do want to make sure that this is the back side of your work that you are working on. All right, I have gone ahead and joined my number 4, my carrot orange color, and I have gone ahead and chained 2. So if you need to pause the video for a minute, get your new color join on and chain 2, then I will meet you right back here when you have that finished. So let's go ahead and get started with row 94. So this is going to be the base row of setting up our textured cluster stitch. And then we'll do 2 more rows, and those 2 rows will actually be the repeating pattern that we will do with the other colors. All right, so this chain 2, and of course I'm going to pull my tails around here and work those in as we go. This chain 2, normally we would chain 1 and work a single crochet right into that first stitch. But for this section, this chain 2 is actually going to count as our chain 1 and our single crochet. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and start that cluster stitch right off the bat, and right in the very same stitch as our chain 2, which represents again our chain 1 and our single crochet, we are going to work 2 double crochets. So there is 1 and 2. And while you're doing that, I am going to go ahead and bring the camera down a little bit closer so you can see better what I'm doing. And let's adjust our light a little bit so we can make sure we've got good lighting on it. All right, looks like we're set and ready. So now we are going to skip the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to use my scissors here to show you. So here's where we've just worked that cluster stitch. Now we're going to skip 1, we're going to skip 2, and we're going to work our next stitch right here into this one. So let me go ahead and grab that up. And so again, that's 1, 2. So right here in that stitch, we're going to work a single crochet. And then we're going to put 2 double crochets right there in that stitch. And I know it's a little difficult to see when I'm working around the tails, so I'm going to walk you through it. Then when we get the tails out the way, I'll be able to show you a little bit better. And so that completes our next clustered stitch. Okay. And we're going to continue repeating that. So we're going to skip the next 2. Here's 1, 2, and we're going to go right here into this next one, and we're going to work a single crochet, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets. And I'm going to give my tails a tug here. And it looks like I can probably complete 1 more cluster stitch before trimming those. So let's go ahead and skip 2 more stitches. And in that very next one, we're going to work our cluster stitch of a single crochet and then 2 double crochets. And then I'll go ahead and trim my tail. Our tails, and then I will be able to demonstrate this a little bit easier with those tails out of the way. So let me give them a nice little tug here and trim those off. And I'm going to come just a little bit closer, make sure the lighting is still good. Oh, there we go. All right. And so here we go. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and right in here, we're going to work a single crochet, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets. Trying to keep my hands out the way so you can see those. And that's our textured cluster stitch. All right, let's slide this down and let's do a couple more together. And get some yarn here. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and right into this next one, we're going to work a single crochet, and then right into the next one, we're going to work a double crochet, right in that same stitch, a double crochet, and in the same stitch, another double crochet. So we're working single crochets 1 time and 2 double crochets into that same stitch. So let's do a couple more. 1, 2, skip, and then right into the next one, we're going to work a single crochet, right back into the same stitch, a double crochet, and then 1 final time in the same stitch, another double crochet. Whoops. Lost my yarn. All right, 1 more time. We're going to skip 1, 2 stitches, and we're going to go right here into this next one, and we're going to work a single crochet, and right back into the same stitch, a double crochet, and right back into the same stitch, a second double crochet. And that is creating that textured cluster stitch. Isn't that just beautiful? I love that. All right, let's do it again. We're going to skip 1, 2, and we're going to come right here into this one, and we're going to work a single crochet, We're going to go right back into that same stitch and work a double crochet. And then we're going to work a double crochet right into that same stitch. And this is the textured cluster stitch. So go ahead and continue working this textured cluster stitch all the way down to the very end. And when you get down to the last 4 stitches remaining, stop and I will meet back up with you. So go ahead and pause the video and I'll see you at the end with 4 stitches remaining. So we're here at the end of row 94. We have our 4 stitches remaining, 1, 2, 3, and our last one here on the end. So we're going to do just like we have been. We're going to skip the next 2, 1, 2, and in this one we're going to work a single crochet, and then to complete that textured cluster we're going to work 2 double crochets right into that same stitch. And that leaves us 1 stitch on the end, and we're going to work a single crochet right into that stitch. And that completes row 94. That is so pretty. So to begin row 95, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. And for me, I'm going to attempt to do that as gracefully as possible around this camera. And to start row 95, let me make sure I'm completely on camera here. All right, so right here in this very first stitch where we did the chain 1, we're going to work a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches, and they're going to be the double crochet stitches from the previous row in this textured cluster stitch that you worked. So we're going to skip 1, 2, and then right here in this single crochet stitch, we're actually going to make a single crochet, but we're going to do it in the back loop only. So if you turn your work, and you can see that it creates, let me get that yarn out the way, you can see how it creates these perfect little V's. All right, maybe too close. Oh, there we go. You can see a little bit better. As you can see, we have a front loop and then we have a back loop. We're going to do the single crochets in the back loop only. So we skip 1, 2, come to this single crochet. We're going to turn it and we're going to work a single crochet into that back loop only. And I might actually be a little too close for you to see that. So let me raise this up just a little bit. And hopefully you can see this a little bit better. So we're going to chain 2 again. 1, 2. We're going to skip 2 stitches, which is our double crochets from the previous row. And then right here in this single crochet, we are going to insert our hook into that back loop only and work a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. All right. We're going to skip 1, 2 stitches, go to our single crochet, and you can tell your single crochets because they stick out a little bit. You can see them. Okay. And so we're going to go to that single crochet, we're going to turn it, and we're going to work in that back loop only, making a single crochet. Chain 2, and again we're going to skip 2 stitches, which is our double crochets from the previous row, and we're going to go to our single crochet, which is the next stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet in that back loop only. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 stitches and work in that back loop of the single crochet, working a single crochet. Chain 2, and again we're going to skip 2 stitches, which are our double crochets from the previous row, go to our single crochet, and we're going to work a single crochet in the back loop only. Again, chain 2, skip 2 stitches and work a single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, and you can kind of see, but you'll see it even more when we put in the next row, how it's kind of pushing our textured cluster stitch forward. So go ahead and pause the video and keep working across row 95 all the way down, chaining 2, skipping 2 stitches, which are the double crochets from the previous row, working a single crochet in the 1 single crochet of each cluster stitch from the row before in the back loop only. And you're going to continue doing that all the way down until you have 3 stitches remaining. When you have 3 stitches remaining, I will meet back up with you and we will finish row 95 together and get ready for row 96. We're at the end of row 95. We have our 3 stitches remaining. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip the 2 double crochets, which is the next 2 stitches, and we're going to work in the top of the chain 2 that was at the end under both loops, and we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and now that gets us set up and ready for row 96. I'm going to pause the video and get the blanket turned around, and I will meet you back and we'll get ready to start row 96 together. So to get started with row 96, we're going to work a single crochet in the same stitch as our chain 1, and we are going to go under both loops, and I'm going to bring this up just a little bit because it looks like being as close as I am is making it a little bit blurry. All right, so let's take a look at this and see what this looks like. So we're going to work a single crochet under both loops in that chain 1 space. We're then going to skip the next 2 stitches, and the stitches that we're skipping are our actual chain 2. So then the stitch that we're going to be working in is a single crochet that we created in the back loop only of the previous row. And so we're going to go right into the top of that single crochet, and we are working under both loops, and we're going to work a single crochet and then 2 double crochets right in that same stitch. So we're once again creating that textured cluster stitch. All right. And so this is what we have. We're going to skip 2 stitches again, and again that's going to be your chain 2. You're going to find that single crochet that you worked in the previous row, and you're going to go right into the top of it, and you're going to work a single crochet and 2 double crochets all in that same stitch. And then we're going to repeat that. We're going to skip 2 stitches, which is your chain 2, find the single crochet you made in the previous row and go right into that and work a single crochet and then 2 double crochets. And again, this is creating your textured cluster stitch. And we're going to do it one more time together. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, which is our chain 2. We're going to go right here into the next stitch, which is a single crochet we made from the previous row. And we're going to go under both loops and we're going to work a single crochet, and then we're going to work, whoops, trying to keep my fingers out of the way, I lost it. So get my yarn back on my hook, and we're going to work a double crochet. And then we're going to go right back in there and work 1 more double crochet. And again, skip the next 2, which is your chain 2. Find your next single crochet. Go right into that top of that stitch under both loops and work a single crochet, and then put 2 double crochets right back into that same stitch. And again, that is creating your textured cluster stitch. And you're going to continue doing that all the way across the row. And when you get down to the end of row 96 and you have 4 stitches remaining, stop and I will meet back up with you there. We are back at the end of row 96, and we have just finished the last textured cluster stitch for this row. We are going to, just like we have been, we're going to skip 2, so we're going to skip this chain 2. We're going to come right here in the top of our single crochet, and we're going to work a single crochet. And then we're going to come right here into the top of our chain, and we're going to work 1 final single crochet. And then we're going to go ahead and fasten off our color. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a tail here. And that is the first part of this section. What's going to be really cool is when we turn it over and look at the right side. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and join our next color. Again, that's color number 11. So for me, that's going to be white. So go ahead and join your color, turn your blanket, and I will meet back up with you when you get that finished. We have joined our color, our number 11. And before we get started with the next 2 rows that we're going to create with this color, which will be rows 97 and 98, I want you to stop and look at this really beautiful textured cluster stitch. As you can tell, the cluster is on each row here, okay, or every other row, if you will. And what makes it a textured is the other row, so to speak, creates a divide here. So it looks like the clusters are coming out from behind one another. Now it's a little bit difficult to see in the video here, but if you're looking at yours, you can clearly see it. Now if I run my hand along here like this, you can kind of see that divide, but when I pull it out, it's not as visible in the camera. And I think as we add our colors on, you'll see it even more visually in the video, as well as most definitely when you're looking at your own blanket, you know, face on. All right, so let's get started. Rows 97 and 98 are simply going to be a repeat of rows 95 and 96. So go ahead, pause the video, rewind it, and repeat rows 95 and 96 using your number 11 color. Then fasten off, join your new color, which again is color number 6. And for me, on my chart, again, that is the yellow. And you are going to also repeat rows 95 and 96 with that color to complete rows 99 and 100. So go ahead and work those next 4 rows, doing 2 rows with each color, repeating rows 95 and 96, and I will meet up with you when you have finished those 4 rows. So go ahead and pause the video and work those rows, and I will join you to finish off this section. So welcome back. We're here at the end of row 100, and this is the back side of what we have done, and I've gone ahead and fastened off. So let's go ahead and turn the blanket over and look at the front side from this section. I absolutely love this stitch and definitely plan on doing something with this stitch again very soon. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And now with the color change up, you can kind of see the depth to it, where it looks like these stitches are coming out from behind each row. And what a gorgeous stitch. Again, this is the textured cluster stitch, and I absolutely love this. This has just turned out gorgeous. Now, I did notice that when I ended, I always do a count to make sure that I have maintained the proper stitch count. When I did that, I counted that we now have actually 154 stitches, or on my blanket, somehow I'm now at 154 instead of my 158. If that is the case for you as well, do not worry. In the very next section, we will add a couple stitches in to give us those 4 stitches that we have lost. So it is a very simple fix, and we will get that taken care of. And so the next section is the last one before we start the middle of this blanket. And I am so excited about the middle of the blanket. It may come across as being a little boring to you in the process of it, but I think that once we finish it, it will not be. It will take us 2 sections to complete the middle section, but nonetheless, I think you will be extremely pleased with it. So I am very excited about that. Well, this has been Funday Monday, part 17 of the Longmire Blanket. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and I look forward to spending time with you again for the next section. So until then, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, make your own joyful creations, and I will see you again soon.